Hey, glad to see everybody. Thank you for coming today. Rain in Atlanta means extra traffic, so I know some of you endured a lot to be with us this morning. Thank you. You know, there's significant events. There's going to be significant events in your career, dates that you always remember. Okay, so it was about 7 years ago when we joined Century 21. That's a significant date. Almost 4 years ago, we moved into this office. Some of you were here then. Some of you remember the build-out process and walking around and talking about what's going to go where, right? Significant event. Today's a significant event. We have Mike Miedler, the International President, CEO of Century 21. That's significant. We have 13,000 and some offices across the world and 150,000 agents, plus or minus, that he's responsible for. So do a little math with me. If you visited every office in the world 365 days, you can't take Christmas off. You've got to go see every office in the world because everybody wants you to come, right? How many offices a day would you have to visit? 36. Every day, you can take no time off, 36 offices a day, every day of the year. Now, combine that with you have 4 daughters at home, almost all teenagers, and a wife. And you just, when you go home tonight, just tell them, hey, I'm going to be visiting 36 offices a day. So, like, it's not possible, right? Imagine this. Your sphere of influence, your database. Let's say you have 1,000 people in there. You can't mail them a Christmas card this year. You can't. Lisa, you have to hand deliver every Christmas card this year. How would you do that? I can't do it even way. Right. He has that problem times 10. Okay? But he made a mistake. He did make a mistake. I think he's starting to realize the mistake. The mistake was we were trading messages on something we were working on, and he helped out and got it done, and I said thanks, and he replied, and he said this. Absolutely, glad to help. Let me know if there's anything else I can do. Okay, so I'm that guy. Look, I know how many offices and people he's responsible for. I know how many staff he's managed. I get it, but you just said it. So I replied back right away. I was like, well, you could come visit us. And here's what I'm expecting. Look, he's president of the world's largest real estate brand, okay? So he doesn't say, well, that's crazy talk. That's how I talk. Okay, you know how I talk, but he can't talk like that. He's got to be smart and polished. So I'm going, okay, so here's the answer I'm going to get. I'm going to get a very polite, polished explanation of how that's just not physically possible. But he looks forward to seeing me at the Century 21 conference in Las Vegas in March.
Which I do.
Which I do. And put your hand in your pocket on your credit card because he's coming for you this morning too. It's not the answer I got. The answer I got was absolutely pick a date. Well, how about December 8th? All right. And here he is. Wasn't the answer I was expecting. I don't quite know how you do that. We're not the only office in Atlanta, so by the time we get done with social media today, you probably got some splaining to do. So I get to introduce him to you today, and I could read his bio to you, but it's on your chair. You don't need me to read it to you. Well, most of you can read. I mean, I wouldn't call on anybody in particular because that would be rude, but most of you can read the bio, and she can read it to you, okay? So I'm not going to read you his bio. What I'm going to do is this. Where's Yasleen? Yasleen, how long did it take you to get here today? Hour and a half. Where's Joanne? How long did it take you to get here today?
Hour and a half.
How many other offices, real estate offices, did you drive by to get here? 100? Yasleen, how many other real estate offices? Every day. Hour and a half each way. Where is Lisa Fannin? Lisa, how long did it take you to get here today?
About an hour and a half.
How many real estate offices you drive by to get here?
A lot.
A lot. Why they do that? Now, I know we could keep going with this, but I do have time constraints. So all of you that are going, well, I drove further than that, that's fine. Where's Amy Bradley? Right here in front of me. You live in Alabama.
Pretty much.
Pretty much you do. Alabama's closer than we are.
Yeah.
Is it not?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. How long did it take you to get here today?
An hour and 55 minutes.
2 hours. And she still has to go home.
My 3 kids are going to kill me.
Oh, God.
Why they do that? You could say they want to be, Mike might say this, they want to be part of the Century 21 brand. I go, look, Century 21 is a good company. I'm proud of our affiliation. I am. This isn't to demean that. There's also a lot of good real estate companies. We're not the only one. I think they do it because of people. Now, some of you, the people could be me. Some of you are working here because you want to work with me. Some of you are working here despite having to work with me. You don't have to volunteer that information, okay? You might be working here for Dwayne or for Karen or because you fell in love with Camille during the process or you like working with Rob. I don't know. But I don't think you're here because of a logo on a wall. I think you're here because of the people. Okay? So the reason I'm here, so this is another 3 weeks will be a 7-year anniversary for us with the brand. And those of you that know me fairly well might say the same thing that my wife says about me, that I'm the most skeptical SOB on the planet. And she says it to my face. We got married, and I said, so what about children? And you know what she said? Now, she denies this, but I remember her saying it. I'm not having kids with you. I love you, but I'm not having children with you. That's like unthinkable. I'm the most skeptical SOB on the planet. Yeah, maybe. What am I doing here? People. Okay. There's a lot of brands. I talked to them all before we did this. But when I was in New Jersey and I was meeting with Century 21, there were some people there that I resonated with. Like, this is real, okay? This isn't corporate speak. They're not reading mission statements to me. They're not talking high-level gobbledygook that doesn't mean anything. This is real. And they're me. Like, they've done this. I mean, Mike's going to talk to you. I can tell you he's been with Century. I don't know how long. He won't give an exact time period, but it's over 20 years. That's the most I can get out of it, okay? But he's the president of the world's largest real estate brand. Almost any way you want to cut and measure it. And I think what you're going to find today is what I found 7 years ago, which is it's just real. It's just straight. It's just genuine. Okay. So with all that said, I want you to welcome with me the president of the world's largest real estate company, Mike Miedler.
Wow. Thank you, guys. Really, really appreciate that warm welcome. That means a lot. So now I'm a little bit nervous. I mean, there's 3 things now. Do I have to live up to Mike's introduction? Do I have to live up to the hour and 45 to hour and a half commute that everybody's going to have to, take going home? Or maybe more difficult, out of the hundreds of real estate offices that you guys all passed today, how many of them do you think are doing flash mobs here in Atlanta? I'm serious about that. I mean, when you talk about people and the culture, I mean, I've opened up to a lot of different things. I've never opened up to a flash mob. And I will say this, I know that whatever that was, 1.5 minutes, 2.5 minutes, and then all the fun ad hoc stuff at the end. So as Mike said, I am the father of 4 daughters. All 4 of them at one point had gone through some type of dance academy or class or program. My one daughter is seriously into it, travels all over the country to do it. And I've been part of what they call the dad dance, which is literally, if I tell you it's 60 seconds long, but it takes, for the dads involved in that program, about 5 months of training every Sunday afternoon to get it down. So congratulate yourselves, gang, for going through that and being part of that. I mean, that is truly what Mike means when he speaks to the people and the culture and what it means to get energy and enthusiasm from the folks that you're associated with. And so I say it all the time, the best thing about Century 21, even though there's 155,000 plus of us worldwide in 86 countries, is every single individual. And the truth of the matter is, brand in a lot of respects does matter. So for our brand, it stands for trust and confidence in the consumer's eyes. It's a 50-year-old brand that folks, when you say Century 21, they know you're talking about real estate. But honestly, the brand is defined by this logo, this leader, the team that you have here who fly this flag, and every single one of you every time you put out a business card. Every time you go out and meet with a consumer, every time you go out and deliver the dream of home ownership, the way that you represented the brand is who Century 21 is. And so, first of all, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank you for, if you truly take a look at what we've been through in the last 2 years. Martin Luther King Jr., you know he's from Atlanta, right? He has a saying that a person's not defined by times of comfort and convenience. They're defined in times of challenge and controversy. And if you look at what we've been through as a country, I mean, I can't even imagine some of the things that everybody in this room had to do to put us where we are today. So I'll just talk about that a little bit. If you kind of rewind 18 months ago, as a country, our system was down literally 35% in closed volume. And I think all of us were kind of like, what in the hell is going on, right? But it has been absolutely a wild ride. And if you look at any statistic in our industry, think about this, right? We've set records. Whether it's price, record high, inventory, record low, percentage over asking, record high, days on market, record low. You know, think about that. Take out of the equation the fact that we have been through a global pandemic, right? And I know it's hurt some people across the country and probably people and families in this room, and I don't take that lightly. But we also, as a country, had a recession. And what you guys had to do every single day is go out there, rethink your business, rethink the way that you interacted with your consumers, rethink your marketing, rethink safety protocols, rethink the way that you dealt with technology, rethink the way that you dealt and met with your customers. And I don't take this lightly, guys, because if you don't know it, the GDP in this country, real estate is 20% of it. You guys are 20% of the economic activity that happens here in the Atlanta marketplace. On top of that, for every home that you help buy and sell in this marketplace, there's anywhere from $50,000 to $75,000 of economic activity that happens around that transaction. Do you guys know that? So I say this all the time. I say it to Fox Business. I've said it to anybody who will listen to me. I'm going to say it again on Yahoo Finance next week. But I believe that the real estate professional, this industry, Century 21 Connect, every single one of you literally stood this country back up on its feet over the last 2 years and gave people a place to homeschool, to work from home, to change their houses into their restaurants, the places where they brought their families and their friends to rediscover what shelter meant in this country.
Give it up to yourselves. Well done.
And honestly, it's because you followed your leader and you just showed up every single day, right? I mean, we talked about this a little bit last night, Mike, but it's like, in some of the scariest times when we don't know what's going to happen around the globe, you truly stood up and you showed up. You showed up for your consumers. And the truth be told is Mike is an amazing leader. He's walked a mile in everybody's shoes here, and he provides what I believe is what all great leaders need to do. They got to provide focus, they got to provide confidence, and most importantly, and hopefully every one of you are getting this, because I can feel it in this office place right now, is you're getting inspiration. Inspiration to hit the goals and objectives that you all have. And you guys all have different goals and objectives personally, right? Whether it's put a kid through college, retire a little bit early, give more money back to the community, buy an investment property. You know, we don't know what it is. I'm sure Mike does. But his goal, I know, as your leader, is to make sure you get there faster with him, with this organization, than you can on your own. So again, I just give it up to this entire organization and what you guys have done out on the front line every single day for this country, for this marketplace, and obviously for the Century 21 brand. On top of that, folks will all ask, what's happening with the market? Anybody feel a little bit of a change in the market? Anyone? A little bit of a change, right? The real estate market is always changing. It's constantly on the move, right? Maybe little microscopic steps, but it is going to continue to change. And honestly, I think it's going to be healthy. I think it's going to be a good thing for all of us. So if you ask me, when you truly look at kind of where we're at from a macroeconomic standpoint, where we're at from the main drivers that kind of like lead the real estate market, we are in for a really long marathon. That marathon is going to look a little bit different than it has the sprint that we've been in the last 18 months. Guess what, guys? Homes are not going to sell in 24 hours. I don't think so, not in 2022 anyway. However, I do believe we're in for a really long marathon. I'll tell you why. Jobs, from an overall economic perspective, we're in a good spot. You can find a job if you want to work in this country almost anywhere. Has anybody not seen a help wanted sign on a street that they pass any single day? Right? On top of that, this country has had the highest savings rate that we've seen in over a decade. So people have cash in their pocket, they're saving for down payments, they're in a good spot, they want the American dream. What would a real estate conversation be without talking about millennials? We love you guys. Any millennials in this room? I see you guys. Yeah, If you don't know, 90 million strong, the largest generation in US history, right? They're storming into the real estate market right now. They want their share of the American dream. They're 37% of the buyers, not just first-time buyers, but also move-up buyers as well, because they're getting into that category. Here's what's really cool. They use real estate professionals more than any other cohort that exists out there. You know why? Because they see the value in what you guys do every single day. They realize that they need a trusted advisor to basically provide for the biggest purchase that they're economically going to have in their lifetime, and want somebody who knows the marketplace really, really well and recognizes and understands their needs in the local community. They get the fact that you guys are not just market knowledge experts, sales negotiators, contractors, movers, and sometimes marriage counselors, but they really, truly need you and want you to provide that consultancy throughout the 180 steps it takes from the time that people, take a look at a home on their phone, on their mobile, and the time you guys deliver those keys and the dream of home ownership. So that's the good news. Guess what? They're not going to reach the median age for the first-time home buyer for another 3 years. So the demand is absolutely there. Followed right behind them is Gen Z. Gen Z is the second largest generation in the United States, ever, history. And together, the household formations that they're going to crank out, guys, are going to be immense. So we're going to have to get really, really specific about how we serve those marketplaces and really understand their needs as they start coming into the market. On top of that, you have mortgage folks here today, right?
We do.
We do.
Where's Greg?
Craig in the room? Glad you're here. Thank you. So mortgage rates, historic lows, right? All-time lows, generational opportunity to buy real estate right now. Fannie, Freddie, no matter who you talk to, guys, says that rates are probably going to go to maybe 3.5, maybe 3.6 by the end of 2022. Still records. Still puts tons of purchasing power in people's pockets. It is an opportunity to buy. I don't know if you know this, but from what I've read from NAR, if you look at the median income for a family on top of the median price for a home in this country, with the mortgage rates with where they're at today, homes are more affordable today, even though we hear a lot about how expensive homes are, than they were from 2000 to 2009. So we've got to get out there and educate the consumer about what those rates do and how it affects their purchasing power in their local marketplaces. But I know what you guys are saying, right? Well, find me some inventory. Say it one more time.
We have more inventory than ever.
We have more inventory than ever. You know how I know that? Because we're selling more homes than we have in the last decade. So the inventory is there. It's just going quicker. And what we have to do, what we have to figure out is how to get that inventory, how to be a little bit more creative in going out there. And I know what Mike does. I know what this organization does. It's literally about going out there and talking to people in the marketplace. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But so that's kind of the demand side. If you look at supply, the supply is, it's true. With the amount of household formations that are happening out there right now, let's be honest, this country has underbuilt for the last decade. So from 2012 to 2021, there were literally 12 million new household formations in the US, and we only built 7 million single-family homes. So there's a gap there. NAR says that we would have to double production, which we're not doing because of the cost of labor and lumber and all the laws that surround our local communities. We'd have to double production of single-family homes to meet the demand in the next 5 years that we're going to see from those generations that I talked about a little bit earlier. So again, I truly believe that as real estate professionals, as an organization that's led on coaching and training, like I know Century 21 Connect is, that you guys have an opportunity to be in a really long marathon and have what I know have been career years this year, have an even bigger year in 2022. If you get out there and treat this like a business and go out there and work every single day. And I'll be honest, Century 21 had an amazing year. I mean, we have just, like I'm sure all of you, just crushed it. If you guys don't know, for 22 years in a row, we are the most recognized and respected brand in the industry and the most recommended. Why does that happen? It happens because of every single one of you. The consumer knows who Century 21 is. They know it stands for real estate, as I said earlier. But what happens in the process and how you guys provide that quality service every step of the way, how you treat it like an experience, that's why we become the most recommended. How many folks in here use our quality service surveys? Anybody? Awesome. Didn't you tell me they have a goal out? Do we have a contest on that?
Talks away.
Yeah, so we have a trip.
Trip to Talks away if you get the Quality Service Survey Award.
And I'll tell you why that's important, right? And I saw, who had those quality service surveys, quality service awards up on their desk before? Right.
Jeff?
And Jeff I saw, right. So if you don't know this, gang, folks who are intentional about the quality service they deliver, and I'm telling you, millennials and Gen Z and the new buyers are all looking for this. They're looking for the ratings and reviews online. But the folks who deliver quality service, they're intentional about it. You guys are measuring it every single day. You care what your customer says. It's a great way and an easy way to follow up and do marketing. The folks who use quality service and score 90% or better in our system do double the amount of business than everybody else in the organization. So if you're not using it, use it today. It's a great way to reconnect with your consumer and to stay in contact with them. And again, the folks who are coming into the marketplace are looking for those ratings and reviews that you guys have online. One of the big things that I'm excited about, obviously, is, as Mike mentioned earlier, we've got multiple awards this year through Entrepreneur Magazine for being the fastest growing franchise, not just in real estate, but franchise in general. Like I said, 86 countries, 155,000 sales professionals. I think we're like at 14,000 offices. But what I'm really excited about here in the U.S. is our rollout of Moxie. So has the team heard about this at all, Mike?
A little bit, but not a lot.
So we've decided to make at Century 21 an investment in what we believe is the best-in-class technology that's built out there. You guys can go online and take a look at it. It's called Moxie. Moxie Works. It's a company that's been in the space for many years. It's been developed by a real estate brokerage. Has now been passed off to a technology company. And they have some of the best-in-class products. We went out to T360, if you're familiar with Stefan Swanepoel and some of his organization, to consult with us to find out, is it KV Core? Is it MoxieWorks? What is the best program that we can bring to our real estate professionals in order to make them more effective and efficient? This will make you guys more effective, efficient, and more productive if you use it. And let me just give you 4 key components that we're going to be rolling out in the middle of next year. Hopefully right here at Century 21 Connect. If you guys, I'm assuming you're planning on rolling it out. Okay, all right, good. So number 1 is our websites. Moxie websites, it will have not only websites for the brokerage, it will have websites for every single agent. It will be IDX search. It will include lead generation, and it will give you guys tons of analytics. We also have Moxie Present. Moxie Present is basically your CMA. It allows you guys not just to give a CMA, but it allows you to take your clients on a virtual journey. It will give you statistics inside of local marketplaces and insights about neighborhoods, but also act as your seller's presentation. Not my statistics, Moxie statistics from thousands of agents that use it. The people who engage with Moxie Present, use it in their business, do 55% more transactions than everybody else in the marketplace. So hopefully you guys will take advantage of that. On top of that, we have what they call Moxie Engage. Moxie Engage is basically a virtual marketing program. It's not just a CRM, it's literally a business planner for every single one of you. It has email marketing, all the things that you could possibly imagine and need for you to stay in contact with your consumer and for you to be top of mind every single day. You know why that's important? Somebody give me a story about how email marketing turned into a deal for them at some point later on down the road.
I just dropped a bunch of people into a chain of emails, and I was shocked when I started getting responses from people just saying, you know, that's a really great idea. You know, we are thinking about buying a house, and it turned into a transaction.
It's a set it and forget it. And I can tell you guys this is best in class. I am super excited by it. I am hoping that the statistics that Moxie shared with us and they've seen from other agents will happen with our Century 21 Connect agents. You know how I know it will happen? If you use it. So I always joke about this. People talk about technology in our industry all the time. Guess what? There's competitors out there. They say they're not even a real estate company. They're a technology company. We're creating an end-to-end platform. We've got it all made. Well, guess what? Why did you have to stop coding on your product, KW? Because they figured out what we did a long time ago, which is you can't build an end-to-end platform. So what Moxie is going to be is this open ecosystem where if you guys have different widgets or things you like to use right here in your local market, feel free. We're going to allow you to plug those into our Moxie program so that everything talks to one another. But the best technology out there is the one that real estate agents use. So we believe that the choice that we're bringing you and the way that we're making it an open architecture platform will help serve you guys in the marketplace a little bit better and make your businesses more productive. And I hope to see the results, like I said, that Moxie's talked to us a little bit about. So guys, again, I'm here really to thank you. I know Mike's got a lot of questions that he wants to ask of me. I will say this to you guys. Mike and I have a lot of the same philosophies in this business. I've been around it for, it's like 24 years, I think, coming up in February. You know, I've been like you. I joke around. I got started in the mailroom at Century 21 right out of college. It was my first job, my only job. I did everything, including taking the garbage out and sweeping the floors at night. And I've had the great opportunity to meet so many people. For the last 10 years, I've been, you know, basically the head of franchise development, which is kind of the same thing that you guys do every single day. Prospect, pre-qualify, present, and close. And guess what? It's a long cycle sale that has a lot of emotion and a lot of dollars tied to it. So I get all the hard work, all the energy, all the things that you have to do, all the sacrifices that you have to make to go out there and really be successful in this business. And like I said, I appreciate the way that you guys represent the Century 21 brand right here in this local Atlanta market. I know you have a couple questions, and then I do want to wrap it up with one other statement that I want to make or tell a story about as people are planning out for 2022, if that's okay.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of questions here. So, and then we've got lunch, so plan to stick around and join us for lunch. But I want to start with my question. So you've been president of a really big company for a couple of years now. What's different about that than you expected it to be?
What's different about that? So as I told you, Mike, I'm the same guy who, you know, got started in the company many, many years ago. I think, and what I take very, very seriously is that, honestly, the title, for whatever reason, has a certain amount of power behind it. And, you know, whether I visit offices like this and get, you know, just amazing engagement and welcomes and, you know, seeing flash mobs, to being in Japan 2 years ago, where literally had a sea of gold jackets bowing to me. I'm the same guy that I was, literally 2 years ago before I had the title. And to be here and represent the brand globally and recognize what type of true kind of like honor it is, but also, responsibility is, was a little bit kind of like, holy cow, I didn't recognize how big that was going to be. And so I take it really, really seriously. And I say to our people all the time, again, every single one of our agents, every single one of our brokers, every single person who represent this brand is putting trust and confidence in us as people. And you better wake up every single day recognizing that we are tied at the hip for their success in the local marketplace and how they interface with their customers. So I know that's a long answer, but I was really blown away with the title. It's funny because I can guarantee the founders of this company 50 years ago, Art Bartlett and Marsh Fisher, nobody ran up to them, didn't want to take a picture. But today, people want to be on Instagram and they want to be on social media, and it's fun, but it's also a little weird.
So last night I picked him up at his hotel. We were going to go to dinner, and I asked him a question. I said, so have you gotten used to being a celebrity yet? Where everybody, and please, wear him out today. You're only going to get him once, okay? So get your picture. And
actually, that's not true, because if everybody here signs up for our 121,
you'll come back? All right, Dwayne, write that down. So I asked him, we're standing out front of his hotel waiting for the car, and I said, so have you gotten used to being a celebrity yet? And I swear he blushed. He blushed, his face turned red. And that's I've known him for 7 years now. That's who he is. Like, he doesn't think of himself as a celebrity. And when I asked him about it, you could see how uncomfortable it all felt with him. The other thing I wanted to ask, and then I'm going to ask other people's questions, is, so how have your wife and your daughters are range in age from what?
They go from 16 down to 8. I have twins that are actually 8 years old, and they're the ones who actually miss me. Like when I called them on the car ride over here, they're like, "Oh, Dad, where are you?" My wife, over the last probably 20 months, is kind of saying, "When are you going back out on the road? Like, are you going to be here again for lunch and dinner today?"
So a number of the guys here wanted me to ask you, you live with 5 women.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
How do you do that? Do you have like a male dog or something?
I tell people I can't even afford another mouth to feed. So I have no pets, nothing else. Love them all to death. They're the best. And people say this, that boys will wind up leaving and they go off and do their own thing, but girls will always take care of you. So I'm like crossing my fingers that that's actually true. And I love them all to death.
All right, first real question. Jay Willard, he wants to ask, because he's asking me this every day, and we want to tag back to the Moxie Works. And Moxie Works, this is the first time a lot of people are hearing it, because I'm waiting to see how y'all do with this before I start opening my mouth, right?
Of course, yeah.
It doesn't have anything to do with me. Jay wants to know, so I'll just read it. So where are we in the prioritization of the rollout? When do you think this is going to happen? And how can we get to the front of the line?
Yeah, so great question. Jay, great question. I'll tell specifically, Jay, why we didn't put Mike in the front of the line is because, and this is no joke, we have right now rolled out 74 companies out of our entire system, right? Thousands of offices. We've rolled out 74 companies, and there's bumps in the road, right? Anytime you roll out a new technology, you guys know there's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be bumps in how that system interfaces with what we do from a Century 21 perspective. There's going to be bumps in the road with how it interfaces with your MLS here in the local market. There's going to be bumps in the road with how it interfaces with what you guys do here at Century 21 Connect. I know how buttoned up Mike is and doesn't deal with any kind of nonsense.
That's about the nicest way I've ever heard that said. Thank you.
So honestly, I give the folks who went out early and got in line and said, we'll test it, we'll do it, we'll help out, a lot of credit for kind of dealing with it along the way. We've gotten some tremendous feedback. I was in Columbus, Ohio last week. We had one company out of about 20 brokerages that was using it. He said, this thing is out of control. It's getting better and better every single day. We can get you to the front of the line. I need to hear from Mike and everybody else in this room that you guys will be okay with non-perfection.
So, okay. So Jay keeps coming to me with this, and he's like, get us in the pilot program. Get us to the front of the line. I'm like, Jay, it's not going to happen. He goes, well, why? And I said, they're never going to do that with us. And he goes, well, why? We can handle it. And I'm like, no, I'm such a pain in the ass. There's no way they're doing this with us until all the kinks are worked out. And that's about the nicest way can say it. But I know what they're sitting up there in New Jersey talking about. Oh, no, hell no. That Connect group, don't let them anywhere near it until we get it debugged. Because all technology, no matter what people say, I mean, everything you have works great every day. No, it doesn't. How will MoxieWorks work with Zap? Is Zap going away? Business Builder going away? Are they going to run side by side?
We are. We are decommissioning both of those by the end of 2022. We will make it seamless for you guys to be able to export contacts and make the two speak with one another. When I tell you guys this Moxie thing is something that I'm hanging my hat on, I can tell you if you are a tech person, if you use it, it is going to be an amazing experience for you. Even if you just, even if you just want the CRM, you just use the CRM. Just want the CMA, just use the CMA. Just want the marketing platform, just use the marketing platform. Just use the websites, whatever you want. But I can tell you it will be a game changer for your business if you interact with it and use it the right way. Now, it is also interesting. I just said on the Inman stage a few weeks ago, I truly believe, as I said before, we talk so much about technology. I think there was more money rolled into our business from outside technology firms in 2021 than there have been in literally years. I think it's something along the lines of $90 billion, right, all totaled. And if you think about that, technology is great. It's only as great as the person who's using it. But honestly, it is not a differentiator in our business. It's truly not. Your value, people pay you for how you work with them every single day and consult with them and stay in contact with them and communicate with them and help them navigate the process and the home inspection and the mortgage and everything else that you guys do. You guys are kind of I just watched the movie 14 Peaks. Anybody see that on Netflix? Yeah, it's a good one if you haven't watched it. But you guys are kind of like Sherpas in the process, right? You're literally helping people navigate a mountain. And it's a really treacherous mountain. And I think that's where the value is. All the technology, all the other stuff, that's supplemental. And it'll help you be more effective, more efficient. It'll give you more time in your day. It'll help you connect behind the scene when people aren't, when you're sleeping, on ways to kind of keep your sphere moving forward and thinking about you. But it's really not the differentiator.
For everybody that's feeling a tad bit of anxiety around these technology conversations, oh, damn, I just learned Business Builder and Zap. Now I got to go learn something else all over again. Hey, look, we've got a solution for that. You're not alone. We sell houses for a living. I don't expect you to be a software engineer. I'm the technology guru in the building. You just come to me. Not supposed to be that funny. No, we do what we're going to do. Like next Wednesday, we're having Technology Day, right? Something doesn't work the way you want it to work. All day is Technology Day. You come in, we got Corey, our IT specialist, Dwayne, you got me. Remember, I wrote the algorithm for our Easy Sell program. I can help you with your... Look, we're not going to leave you alone with... When we make the transition to MoxieWorks, and we would like to move to the front of the line. And I'll promise to play nice.
And hold on, let's say this out loud together. Let's affirm this. And you'll deal with imperfection.
We will deal with it.
He still didn't say it.
Folks, when we do this, you're going to have a whole support team here.
You will.
Hand it to them and say, get all my contacts moved over to here. I'm going to go to lunch. I'll come back. Make this happen. This is what we do. We're not going to leave you alone with this. And what's this cost? What's my word? What's my favorite word? Everybody together. Free. Right. We're not doing what other people doing. We're not nickel and diming you. We're not doing that. It's all included. I want to ask you a different question.
Yep.
Okay, so just move to the front of the line, let's say?
Sounds like it, Mike.
Okay. I was just in Denver. I hope I stocked up on Denver-type supplies. This will get me through this. Some of you know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna need it. Whole different question here for you. The future of iBuyers, open door, offer pad, this kind of stuff.
Yeah, great question.
What's the future of this? Where's this all going?
So I know here in Atlanta it might be 3 to 5% of the business, right? Because this is a very focused market for it. Overall, it's 1% of the business. And what I find interesting is the company that the consumer would go to find out the price of a home got out of the business because they couldn't figure out the price of the home. To me, you know, like iBuying has been around forever. It's called We Buy Ugly Houses, right? And it's just a version of it. And I get that it makes a lot of consumer conversations uncomfortable. In fact, we, Century 21, have our own program called RealSure, which we've rolled out, and I'm sure if it's not in Atlanta yet, and I don't know, Mike, I should have researched this, that it will be eventually. But what RealSure does is it keeps the agent in the middle of the process. And here's what it does. It basically gives a consumer, and we're backed by Home Partners of America, if you've ever heard of Home Partners of America, familiar with them. They just, you know, they're actually just recently bought by Blackstone. Anyway, long story short is we're in bed with them from an overall Realty perspective. What RealSure does is keep the agent in the middle of the process. So basically you can go to your consumer and say, hey, look, I'm going to give you a guaranteed price for your home, $300,000, okay? In the meantime, you get to shop the home on the open market, which is probably the best thing for a consumer to find out what their house really is worth and what it's valued at. And you get 45 days. In that 45 days, you can either accept an offer on the open market from a consumer who sees and views your house through one of our great Century 21 agents, or you can take the guaranteed offer I gave you 45 days ago when we talked about this. And that will allow each and every one of you to have one of those tools in your arsenal to have that conversation, to go after that discussion, but also to keep you in the middle of the transaction and have a conversation. So do I think iBuying will be there? I think iBuying will always be there in some form or fashion, but clearly I don't think that it's going in the direction that most folks in this industry think it's going to. And again, if you really look at the statistics, it's a microscopic part of the marketplace. To me, it's more of a listing generator than it is anything else.
You know, we talk a lot about how real estate is a relationship-oriented business. People are going to do business with you. Why? They know, like you, and trust you. And you want some proof of that? So, like, I got a whole bunch of questions here, and almost all of them are personal. They just want to know about you. So I'm going to knock out the business questions real quick. Okay. So Philip wants to know, now this is pretty high level stuff. Some of you, if you need to daydream for a second, just feel free, right ahead, go ahead. What impact do you think it will have on the U.S. real estate market if China's Evergrande does indeed go under?
Say it one more time.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means myself. What is the... what impact do you think it'll have on the U.S. real estate market if China's Evergrande does go under?
Oh gosh, I have to admit I'm not sure I have an answer to that.
Okay.
Here's what I will say, is that if you don't know this, that before the pandemic, there was $90 billion plus or minus a year that was spent from overseas in U.S. real estate. And I know for a fact because one of my good friends, our friend Rick Ellis, actually sold his house here in the Atlanta marketplace, wound up moving to Florida, sight unseen to a Chinese buyer with the furniture. Sold the property. So what I believe is that if you recognize the amount of influx that we're going to see from a real estate perspective, again, when we kind of clean up some of the stuff that's happened from this, you know, global pandemic, that we'll be in a really good spot. We at Century 21, just right before the pandemic, kicked off what we call our global referral network, our global connector, and we've seen a ton of transactions happen in it already. So hopefully, as Atlanta, as I know, is an attractive overseas market for investors around the globe, hopefully you guys will see some referrals from that. But the great news is that we are truly the only global residential real estate company that exists out there. Thousands of offices in China, thousands of offices in Japan, Canada, Mexico. Every place that investors are coming from in the United States, we have a tremendous presence in. Again, they know Century 21 stands for confidence in the real estate market. So hopefully we'll see a positive again at some point in the future in our real estate market here as things loosen up from a pandemic standpoint.
So Shanitra Holloway asked a very relevant question to a number of people in the room. What would your suggestion be to those of us that are trying to transition from a real job into real estate? Do you have any tips or advice?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the most difficult part is obviously, having personal stability as you're, leaving, I guess, a salaried role or another job or whatever it is that you're working on. Bob and I, where's Bob? I thought I saw Bob in here before he slipped out. He's probably making phone calls.
Yeah, probably.
But I think there's a lot of different things that work in this business, right, in order to get up and get moving and get going, in order to make a living in this business. If you just stay true and follow it and put in the time, energy, and effort to, treat this as a job and show up the same amount of hours that you are in your full-time job today to this office to get the tutelage that this leadership team will provide you, you will get up and running quickly. And, we talked about this last night, Mike. I mean, there could be a level of uncomfortableness in that window where, you need to get a deal done and need to make a paycheck, obviously, to provide for your family. But I will say this, if you think about it from a real estate perspective, there is no other industry where if you treat this as a full-time job and take it very, very seriously, that you can make the amount of income that you do, more than doctors, more than lawyers, more than most other professions that exist out there, if you just truly follow the process, listen to your leadership team, and go out there and just work. Like, it's possible. There's millions of homes being sold in this country and bought every single year, and you just got to go out there and work it.
So we joke about that a little bit here, and I'm not sure it's a joke, but like some of us are completely unemployable, aren't we? Yeah, we are. Really, who's going to give me a job? Nobody's going to give me a job. This is it, and this is a good gig. I couldn't do in anything else. Think about it. Think of the opportunity available to you. What else could you do that would offer that kind of opportunity? Unlimited.
Let me maybe you guys have probably heard me say this, so I didn't want to repeat it, but I'll say it again. But I have a firm belief in my years in sales, and even now when I look across different things that my kids get involved with, I always tell them about my 121% rule. And I know you believe in this, Mike, because you and I are kind of cut from the same cloth. But if you think about it, right? If you apply these three things to anything you do in life, you're probably going to be successful no matter what. Number one, and the first 50% of the 121% rule is your mindset. Like waking up every single day, super positive, excited about what you have as an individual, knowing and being grateful for the folks who surround you and in your life, not watching the news, not getting drugged down the rabbit hole, but truly just doing something for yourself to set the day off in a positive way. And for me, that's, I'm a runner. So, we've talked about this. I like to go out, clear my mind through running, whether it's walking, meditating, doing yoga, reading a book, whatever you guys do, being spiritual, just, start the day really positive and set yourself up with a great mental mindset and try to stay that way and hang out with people who are like that throughout the day. The second component, especially for newbies, is this business is not rocket science. It's not rocket science. It's not law. It's not, what was the question about the Chinese?
I don't know.
It's none of that, right? Like if you literally go out and do the kind of the work, you'll get the job done. But you always have to be educating yourself in life in general, whether it's reading a book or learning the latest greatest thing, maybe pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone and learning the Moxie technology, showing up on Wednesdays. I mean, the fact that you guys are here is amazing, right? You're here because you're trying to improve yourselves, right? You're trying to get better at what you do. So it's not rocket science, but try to learn something new every single day. So your skills You got to learn and progress and try to educate yourself every single day. And then the last but not least is just showing up. The last 21%, probably the hardest, and doing the activities. And each one of those activities are going to be defined by what your personal goals are. Mike, I know you'll sit down and business plan, try to find people's niches, understand really how they're going to go out and take the marketplace. But honestly, it's the time management and doing those activities that you've committed to in order to reach those goals. Do those 3 things every single day in this career, any other career. You know, I tell my daughter, you know, in her JV tennis team, like, if you just show up like this, trust me, you'll have success. I can bet that you guys will reach any goals that you have if you just apply those 3 things every single day.
Mike, how do you see the role of the real estate agent changing over the next 4 or 5 years?
I don't. I don't, and I say this, I mean, I think for 50 years probably, and maybe before that, it goes back to the quality of service and what we do as professionals. I think there's going to be nuances. I think there's going to be different ways to get leads. I think consumers will come at things differently. There's always going to be new technologies to reach people. There's been a lot that's come out from NAR over this last November meeting, where they've talked about things that, you know, nuances that are going to happen in the MLS and what we should be saying, data we should be providing, how we should be talking about our commissions. And all that will continue to evolve, but at the end of the day, it's literally about serving the customer. And I can bet the folks who've been in this business a really long time, we talked about this, the folks who have had longevity, the folks who've had tremendous success, have had it because they've done an amazing job throughout their career serving customers and then continuing to earn repeat and referral business from that book, that sphere that they've built up over years and years and years. And it just starts getting easier and easier. And more clients and customers will come your way as you serve the client and deliver that experience that is our mission and vision. So I don't see it changing tremendously. I see a lot of things coming into the real estate market, investing on us, because there are, if you don't know, $90 billion of commission volume that trade hands in this country every year. It was probably more this year because of the sales price. I mean, and that's a lot of money. And so people look at it and say, oh my God. But real estate is so local and driven by every single, literally local marketplace and zip code, that I don't see a lot that's going to throw that off course if you just provide that customer service every day.
Let's get personal. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. This impacts almost everybody in the room too, so it's a really good question. How do you balance wife, 4 daughters, work, yourself? How do you do this?
Yeah,
how do you
it's
stay
tough.
in balance in all
It's
these
tough.
areas?
I mean, in the last 2 years for everybody, right? I mean, balancing life is tough. It's not easy. I don't know that I do it well. I mean, my kids might tell you I don't do it well, right? It is difficult. And look, you know, I was on the phone with the broker yesterday. As I said, we've been in a sprint, man. I mean, we have been literally, this real estate industry. Have you guys taken like vacation in the last 2 years?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah, that's a
a good
whole
thing.
different topic. You'll have to come
That's a
back
good
for
thing.
that one.
That's a good thing. I mean, that's it. I am a firm believer in you got to rest and recharge. Everybody's got to rest and recharge. You have to. But I mean, you know, there's probably people in here who haven't had a weekend off in the last 3 months just because the market has been that crazy. And you have to have that balance. You do have to figure out a way to rest, recharge, have downtime. Absolutely. I don't know that there's probably nobody here who's a perfect example of it, but make
Okay.
sure you do it for yourself because it's important.
Let's get more personal.
Oh, God. I don't think anybody cares.
I think they do. These are all the questions. So this is a good one. You appear very fit. It must be from one of the ladies in the room, I think. You appear very fit. How do you find the time?
Time management. I think I said to you last night, Mike, there's not, a guy helped me with my bag off a flight because I was in a seat before and I had to put it in the back. And he's like, oh my God, this is heavy. Well, my sneakers and my workout gear are always in my bag, no matter what. So whether I'm running at the hotel or I'm outside or wherever it is, I got to get my run in so that I can stay mentally positive and stay fit and have the energy that I have to run hard, right?
Okay, so let's don't let him off the hook with that. You're on the road a lot. You got hundreds of thousands of people that you're responsible for. You got 4 teenage daughters at home. When do you get your run in?
In the morning.
Do you
first
have a
thing.
certain time
First thing,
every
First
day or
thing,
routine?
5:30 this morning.
5:30
Alarm
this
went
morning?
off, shorts are on, in the gym.
Do you ever have
And guess
days-
what? It was already packed. It was packed. I walked in at 1:45 and there's already, all of the treadmills were taken.
Do you ever have days when you just don't feel like it?
Every day, I just don't feel like it. But again, I keep picking on Bob, but Bob and I just talked about this. It's like, how many times do you not want to make the phone call? How many times do you not want to block and do your prospecting? It's really easy when you're in the office and you start making the calls and you're getting into the rhythm and you're going. Same thing on the treadmill, right? Same thing on the run. Like, it's so uncomfortable to get in there. But once you start going, you work the kinks out, you get into the runner's high, you're feeling good.
So take us inside your mind. 5:30 this morning, you wake up, you don't feel like it. What goes on in your brain to get you from, I don't feel like it, I could stay in this bed for another hour or so, to getting up, getting dressed, and hitting the road? What goes on inside?
I'm at a point where my mind for the rest of the day won't be right if I don't run. Like, I just won't be normal. That's all I'll be thinking about. We all do uncomfortable things. So let me actually leave it with this story, because I think this is a good story to tell everybody. As you guys are all planning for 2022, who here has their business plan set for 2022? Their goals, objectives? Hold them high. Hold them real high. Who doesn't? Who's still working on them? Okay, that's good. That's fine. We're still in December. You guys should be paying attention to the business. You should be running really hard through the finish line, because what you're doing right now is going to pay off for what you're trying to accomplish in the first quarter. But I'll kind of leave you guys with this. This is an interesting discussion. So, Mike, you might have been there I guess it would have been 2019. We had a leadership event, and we had an inspirational speaker, the Iron Cowboy. Anybody ever hear of the Iron Cowboy? Interesting guy. You can Google him. Google him right now on the phone. It'll give you an excuse to check your text. You can pretend like you're paying attention to me. So the Iron Cowboy, this guy runs 50 Ironman runs. He competes in 50 Ironman in 50 days in 50 different states, which is, if you know what an Ironman is, I know we talked about this, but like it's just a grueling physical competition. Last year, I think to one-up it, after he did that, he did 100 in a row in his backyard in Utah. Every single day. It's just, it's unheard of, right? So an Ironman is basically, it's a 2.4 mile swim, 112 miles on the bike, and then a marathon. And so this guy tells us, look, in life, if you want to achieve great things, if you really want to find what is important to you personally, you got to push yourself out of your comfort zone, whether it's in business or big goals that you're setting for yourself. So as you guys think about 2022 and you're going to set this BHAG, you're going to really go for it, you're going to do something you've never done before to be able to provide to your inspiration what you guys are all trying to row towards, think about pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. And I say this because a bunch of brokers, Adam, who we mentioned, Greg Harrelson, a few others that are in the Century 21 system right after that, they said, holy cow, that guy was intense. We're going to do an Ironman next year. You're going to do it with us. I was like, I'm not doing an Ironman. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, there's no way. I just don't have the time. I'm never home. Well, sure enough, COVID hits, and I'm home almost every single day, so I signed up for an Ironman. So we decided to do the Panama City last November Ironman in Florida. It was literally one of the only 2 Ironmen that went off because they canceled all the other ones. And so I'm feeling really bad for myself in the summer. I'm literally waking up, when I tell you early, way early for me. I'm waking up at hours that like I don't even want to be involved with, putting in a ton of hours on the bike, a ton of hours running. I had to learn to swim. So I know how to swim, but when I was like first learning, I had to get a coach. He was the same guy who taught my kids how to swim at the YMCA. And I finally was like, oh my God, okay, I got it. Like I could actually swim now. But it was amazing because I could only do 2 laps in the pool before that, and I was out of breath. I was like, oh, there's no way. But again, going back to coaching and trying to learn and teach yourself. So I find out during my training in the summer about this kid from Orlando, Florida, who's also signed up for the race. His name's Chris Nikitch. You can go online and Google him right now as well. It's an amazing story. You can find him on NBC, New York Times, ESPN. He's all over. Chris Nikitch is a 21-year-old kid with Down syndrome. He's going to be the first Down syndrome individual to ever try to compete in an Ironman. So Chris is a kid you got to recognize who had multiple surgeries when he was young to keep himself alive. Couldn't feed himself until he was like 5 years old. I think he spent 6 years in 7 different schools, right? I mean, just what you would expect out of a typical Down syndrome individual. But he made a goal for himself with his father, his family, and his team to compete in an Ironman in 2020, right there in Florida. And so I actually got an opportunity to meet Chris during the warm-up week. We knew each other from mutual friends. His trainer was actually a real estate agent down in that marketplace. And so here it is, COVID, no COVID. Kid has so much energy and enthusiasm. He comes right up to you, gives you a big hug. Doesn't know me from anywhere. Gives you a big hug, just knows you're competing in the same race. And what we learned from his father is that Chris, his goals in life are to be just like us. It's to, drive a car, to own a home, and to get married. And honestly, he struggles with things in his daily life that you guys take for granted, all of us take for granted every single day. But the goal was Ironman. Go out and compete and complete an Ironman. And so Chris had a lot of challenges along the way, as you might imagine. But his father said that their goal was to get 1% better every single day. 1% better mentally, 1% better towards every one of the different events that you had to compete in, the running, the biking, the swimming, all the skills, and just to be 1% better. And that was his mantra throughout. So the day of the Ironman, Chris, like in life, had a ton of challenges. He actually pulled over to get a water break at one point, got eaten by red ants up and down his legs, started swelling up. At mile 80, he fell off his bike, huge gash in his knee. And his father saw during the marathon, which is the very last part of it, he's like, I know he's dying to quit. I could see the pain in his eyes. And so, like most times in life, he had to pull Chris aside and give him a pep talk. He's like, Chris, we got a battle going on here, and either 2 things are going to happen. You're going to let your pain win, or you're going to let your dreams win. And literally, with 15 minutes left in the 16 hours that they give you to complete an Ironman, Chris Nikitch crossed the finish line and became the first Down syndrome individual to ever compete or complete an Ironman. And so if that doesn't speak to what's possible and the human spirit and what everybody in this room can do as you try to set those goals and aim really, really high for 2022, just think of it. Keep that mindset really sharp. Try to improve yourself 1% every single day and just show up and do the activities. And I think anything's possible for any one of us. So again, guys, I appreciate everything you do. Hopefully you run really hard through the finish line here in 2021, our 50th anniversary, our year, and really crush it in 2022. And again, thanks for the invite, Mike.
Good. Give it up to Mr. Mielder. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
That was the guy Bob I was talking about, if you don't know. It's Bob Clarkson.
Welcome back. Did you set any appointments?
You better close that 150.
CEO of Civic 21 is here.
Mike, before you get too comfortable, we have a couple of gifts for you. The first gift that we have that we want to give you is from now I know you're from New Jersey, which means Mets or Yankees. Which one?
It's worse. It's Mets.
It's Mets.
No, it's the
Mets.
Mets. It's the Mets. It's not connected to
We
Pittsburgh.
have a hat from our World Series champion Atlanta Braves that we would like to give you so you have something of value to go home
Do not take a picture of this.
right
Do
here,
not
right
take a
here.
picture of this. Oh, boy, that means a lot.
It would look good on you, too. Goes with the shirt.
We talked a little bit about this last night, too, right? It's like, money doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot in life. I mean, obviously, we need money to supply, but think about it, right? I mean, the Yankees, and I can guarantee the Mets, have a lot bigger payroll than this team, right? But it's all about what we just talked about. It's all about the grit. It's all about the attitude. It's all about the team coming together. It's all about doing the activities to rolling up to accomplishing something really, really big. Now, again, don't put this on video for any of my friends to see because my Mets fan buddies would laugh at me. But
Andrew, did you get a good picture of this hat with Mike? We have one other gift for you, and it kind of goes to the Moxie Works commitment that I'm not going to bitch that much. And you're going to come back. And so when you come back, we have created a key to our office, and it's yours, and we want you to come and
Love it.
have a key to our office and
Love
come
it.
join us
Love it.
anytime you want. But
It's like the
alarm will
key to
go
the
off
city,
tonight.
right? I mean, alarm will go-
Right, that's right.
Thank you, guys.
Folks, we've got an Italian lunch that's catered in and waiting for you out there. Mike, would you stay and have lunch with
Absolutely,
us?
love to. And I love the shirt. I love the shirt, by the
That
way.
was a tad weird, but okay. We talk about one video a day, but I couldn't think of anything. Okay. Here's anything right in front of you, okay? So, comfortable or not, celebrity
Oh,
status.
that's my best thing.
Would-
I'm a big selfie video guy, so.
Would you take
Got
some
the long
pictures
arm
with
and
us
everything.
and some
Absolutely,
videos? Okay,
absolutely.
great. And we've got him for about an hour. He does probably need to eat something, but grab a picture, make a short video, whatever you can get him to go along with. You better do Bob first because he's apparently really busy today and has to go. Oh, this
I was
is
giving you
so
props,
good.
dude. I was giving you props. I said, where's Bob? Where's Bob? Well, there's the one empty seat. The one empty seat with the Starbucks in front of it.
Was it a listing appointment type of issue?
He's calling us. Oh, God. Okay, sorry.
Oh, well, we got to hear this. Do you want to share?
No, get out of here. Get out of here. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, thank you. Thank you for making the trip. Some of you drove hours. Thank you. See you tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Okay, good. Let's go have lunch. Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate it. That was so awesome. You're good at that. You ever think about doing that for a living?
Yeah.